party people? We are back. Holy heck, dude. Have I been missing in action? Just stopped. Honestly, just stopped, lost interest. Obviously, once the transfer window shuts, it's like, what do we talk about? Honestly, what do we talk about? But we're back. I'm super excited to be back, actually. As I was setting everything up, I was like, damn, I missed this. And I shouldn't have stopped. I had a good momentum going. But hey, you know what? I'm working on consistency. This is where, this is the first step, I guess. So what have we missed? What have I missed? I've missed a game. Let's make that very clear. I'm watching every single game. I'm still looking at news. I haven't been MIA as an Arsenal fan. I've been MIA as a creator and whatever, podcaster, whatever you call this shit. Anyway, so Man U. I know. We have to talk about August. This was a month ago. Yes, I know. I've been bad. Man U, great win. So long ago, none of us want to talk about it anymore. I understand. Leeds, even better win. Gyökeres showed what he was capable of. The team looked great. No Eze yet. Technically, yes, Eze. Announced. Liverpool, bad game. I thought we played well tactically. We were there. We were sound defensively. We were good. Saliba obviously goes down a minute into the game. What are you going to do? Mascara, I think, has stepped up big time, and we're going to talk about that. Mascara has stepped up huge. So, honestly, that's positive to look at that game. It's nice not doing this like right after, because I had so many emotions. I'm talking with my hands. I had so many emotions, going or after the game. I had so many emotions, couldn't really contain my thoughts, like put them down, like really like get to know what I was feeling, what I saw, what I think I want to see next. But you know what? Now that it's time, it's been 2 weeks. We've had an international break. I've really thought about everything. I thought the Liverpool game was good. I think both teams had the same strategy and maintained that plan. But obviously, something magical happened. Szoboszlai hits an insane goal. It is what it is. I'm glad it happened third game in the season rather than 33rd game. We need those 3 points. We're in a title challenge with Liverpool. Like, what? If it's going to happen, let's let it happen now. Since then, we're starting the win streak up again, and we had a big win on Saturday against Nottingham Forest, and not just a weak Nottingham Forest. Yes, are they discouraged Nottingham Forest? Do they just got a point at Ange Postecoglou back? Nuno Esposito's gone. It's a discouraged Nottingham Forest, but still a good squad, still a lot of talent. They're able to win these types of games, and we handled business. So yeah, back to the Liverpool though. I thought it was good. Honestly, we had the right tactics in mind. I think both teams, Arteta's playing for a draw. Yeah. Both of them were. Arne Slot was also playing for a draw. I mean, and I don't even want to say playing for a draw. They were playing for, something magical to happen, and it did. And it didn't go in our favor. You know what? The world's not fair all the time. If it were, who knows what would be happening right now. But it's not important. Because that's unrealistic. Let's be real here. Anyway. But yeah, Liverpool game, I saw some positives. Mascara looked great. The team was meshing. One thing, I think Mikel Arteta just got the substitutions wrong. And, he struggled. He has struggled with that in the past. Bringing on players too late. We bring on Eze, Odegaard, Dalman in the 70th minute. Or the 80-something minute. It was late. It was late. And I think it should have been done at the 60th minute. I think they should have had a little bit more time under their belt, especially Eze, a creative player, and he made his mark. I think Martinelli, has been struggling recently, and he just needs a little bit of a boost. And Martinelli's kind of a main person where I'm like, maybe we should have offloaded him, in the summer transfer window. I honestly give him until January to really prove himself. But it's like, who do you bring in? Are we going to make a statement signing? I don't think so. I think we're going to keep him for the year and then see what happens in the summer. Now, that's a bold prediction. We don't even know what's going to happen. So let's just, past is the past. It's happened. think like a goldfish, Ted Lasso. We're on to the next. We're on to Bilbao, so we're going to do a little bit of a game preview, I guess. We played them before. That was funny enough. My last video, I'm pretty sure, was about Athletic Bilbao, our athletic club. So let's talk about that. So let's go into ratings before I go into that. Nottingham Forest, like I said, was a great game. And let's start from the bottom up. Honestly, David Raya, great game. Obviously, 7.5 clean sheet. I think the boys were playing for the clean sheet as well. They're sacrificing every ounce of what they could give in the full 90. And I love that they're, supporting David Raya, and they kind of take it personally if they concede a goal. So, like I said, David Raya, not too much to say about it. Just great keeper, great business. Honestly, such a influential player in this squad. All right, we'll start with Timber. Timber, I thought was amazing, as he does. He's just, one thing that makes Timber so special is just how consistent he is. He's consistently good, consistently, able to handle the pressure and be that overlap, make those overlapping runs, on the right hand side, whether that's Madueke or Saka or Martinelli. We've seen he's able to just fill in anyone who fills in that right wing position. He's able to work with instantly, it feels like. So I'm really proud, and happy to see what I'm seeing from him. Mosquera, I mean, geez, I feel like we're robbed of Valencia. What a player we got for so inexpensive, and it seems like he's bringing like a boatload of experience with him already, and that confidence that he has as such a young player. It's really amazing. The recruitment system that we have here at Arsenal, and I think that's something to look at and be appreciative of, because we're able to find these young players such good value. I mean, he's filled in great. He's got that confidence. He's able to kind of make those passes that you're like, whoa, like high risk passes, but he seems to do all right with them. Now, I do think that can bite you in the butt, later on in tougher opponents. So I love that he's taking risks, but at the same time, we got to be conservative, and that's just, my, I don't know, prepping for the worst kind of mentality. Pessimistic. It is a little pessimistic, but, sometimes you got to be reality, and I think Arteta's probably telling them the same thing. Like, passes are great, but it's your luck can only run out so much. If those passes aren't working anymore. Gabby, love to see him back. I think he's doing great. Really happy to see with him, but he's always good. So this partnership that is forming, I think, is great, and I think that this shows that we have good signs that this defense is deep, and we got talent spread out in various different positions. Timber is great. Ben White's good as well. Saliba's the world class. Mosquera's getting up there too, or not getting up there, but Mosquera's showing signs of being a great defender. Don't want to get too ahead of myself. Gabriel, I think, is world class. And maybe Ngapi or Calafiore will be understudies to that. Speaking of Calafiore, another great game for him. I mean, involved in the goal. Like, seriously, that goal doesn't happen if it's not for that over the back line through ball. And I just think he's really grown into Arteta's system, and it was never about talent, it was about availability. He was hurt last year a lot, and him being healthy is showing signs of some really good stuff. So love what I'm seeing from him, and I'm really, really happy. I think Calafiore is a great player, and I think to beat, win that battle with Lewis Skelly in the left back position after Lewis Skelly's year, which kind of just shows how talented Calafiore is becoming. And I love that. And that shows progression. Martin Odegaard, I think, is sad. Another AC joint injury, it looks like. They're hard. Those are really hard injuries because they're really bothersome. Being a college athlete, I've seen it. I've dealt with it. It's a hard injury to have. So, I'm happy that it's going to be probably more manageable than we think. It's not going to be a long-term injury. I'm saying that I haven't even seen reports on it, so you guys could be like, oh, well, they already said 8 to 10 weeks. And I'm like, ugh. But no, I don't think it's ever going to be like that. They're nagging injuries. They're not like, anything crazy like Marino last year who fractured his shoulder. So Odegaard, I thought was, okay. 18 minutes in, again, nothing special. So I think he was struggling with that injury mentality kind of early, and that's kind of limiting him from hitting his strides. But he's Martin Odegaard. He's our captain. You got to back him, and I do support him. And I do think that he's still one of the better 8s in the league. Zubimendi, come on now. What a beautiful strike from Martin Zubimendi. Man, what a goal. What a goal, man. He's a game breaker. He's a game breaker. He'll swarm you when you get into our half of the field, and he's so good at winning those balls back. He's a possession beast. I mean, he is an influential player, and what an upgrade from Thomas Partey. What an upgrade. Thomas Partey was great for us, don't get me wrong. But Zubimendi, man, I think he's kind of conducting himself in such a good manner right now, and he's becoming such an influential player that I'm so excited to see what is to come from him. Really, I think he's gonna be great for us. He's already 3 games in, and man, he's already taken the Premier League by storm. Again, another steal, I feel like, from our recruitment team. Obviously, we had to beat the likes of Liverpool to get a signature, and that just shows that we have a pool here at Arsenal that it tops other clubs, seriously, because man, what a signing he's been. Seriously, so proud of this one. Great performance from him. First goal is amazing. Obviously, second goal is even better. Smallest guy on the field, it seems like, and he's banging in headers top corner. So great game from him. I'm excited to see what is to come from him in the future and in the rest of the time that he's here. Mikel Merino. This is probably it's so new. It's so new. But man, do I love this midfield. Odegaard, Zubimendi, Merino. Obviously, I love Declan Rice. I'm excited for Nordgaard to get back because I want to see him play. I think he's a great player as well and very influential player. So I'm excited to see these guys back. But man, this is probably one of my favorite midfields that I've seen in a long time, from Cazorla, Ozil, and Mikel Arteta, like days like that. Like I mean, this is a great midfield that we're putting out. Mikel Merino, I thought was amazing, dude. Amazing. He's growing into the position. He's growing into this club. He's really putting his roots down. And he was one of those signings I was like, oh no, like what is he gonna be? He's older. He's we're spending 30 mil on him. But him and Zubimendi obviously have such a strong connection already, so it's amazing that we're pairing them together already. And I think Marino's really good up in the final third of the pitch. I think he's doing well. He's being creative, but he's also really a defensive presence, which is what I love to see. When we lose that ball, he's there. He's a tall guy. He's a strong player. He's always there. He's going to swarm you. And that's something that, I really admire about his play style. And I think Mikel Arteta just got right. He got right here. Eze, obviously, God, he's also another game breaker. He's such a threat on that left side. He's such a threat, and I love finally having. I feel like we have 18-year-old Martinelli back, but such a more advanced style of play here. Eze's great. Obviously, he got his assist on the home debut, and God, what a beautiful assist. Again, starts with Calafiori. Beautiful one-touch pass to Victor Gyökeres, and I think Gyökeres is great as well. He's doing exactly what we need him to do. He's not a big presence when it comes to open field play, but he's there to tap in the goals that we need to be tapped in. And people say that we struggled with that last year, and I think that him and Havertz, once Havertz is back, is going to be a great duo. You guys know that I love Kai Havertz, and I'm never going to switch on him, but I think him and Gyökeres can build a very good partnership up top. And I'm excited to see, 3 goals, 3 games. Is Mikel Arteta finally going to manage a 20-goal plus striker? I really hope so, because I think there's some promise, in Victor Gyökeres as his career here at Arsenal. And I wanted to save this guy for last, because Nani Madueke, when we first signed him, I was saying it, what a weird signing this is, terrible business. But, again, we're fans. We don't know everything. We don't know the full story. We've only seen clips of him at Chelsea. But holy heck, is this kid special. He's been a great understudy for Saka. He even was really good on the left side of the field. I just think Madueke is one of these signings for us that is going to be a game changer, and he's already kind of proving that, I think, there's actually going to be some competition now with Saka. He's hurt right now. He's going to be back, but he's honestly going to have to, start picking up his load as well, because Madueke is beating his defenders consistently. Even against Liverpool, he was my man of the match. And I think, honestly, against Nottingham Forest, he's my man of the match as well. He's not getting goals. He's not getting assists, but that's okay, because he's creating so many good chances for us. If it wasn't for him in that in-swinging corner, Zubimendi wouldn't have had his goal. He's really stepped up in the role that he needed to have. So I'm really happy to say that Nani Madueke is, going to be an influential signing for us, because, and I'll admit, I was one of his first haters, and I'm glad that he is able to shut up the fans of us and the ones that were, signing the petition to not let this transfer go through. He's really shut them up, and I appreciate that him as a player, because it is intimidating to make that Chelsea to Arsenal switch, because there is so much pressure on you, and it's like the fans already don't like you. You're coming from a London rival. So him to be able to come over and already put in that huge, workload and big performances show that, he was ready for this challenge, and he's stepped up big time. So really happy with this starting 11, and I hope to see this starting 11 against Athletic Club. Now, speaking of Athletic Club, let us just talk a little bit about Athletic Club. Obviously, we played them. We won 3-0. That was a great game. I did the watch along. But let's see how they're doing. Oh, they're actually doing pretty well. Let's show their fixture list. So they beat Real Betis early, 2-1. Let's see who scored this game. Okay. I'm not big in La Liga, so I don't really know this stuff. Okay, so they must have started earlier. Yeah, so they beat Sevilla, beat Rayo Vallecano, and then here we are in September. So they're 0-2 following us. That's they're in a bad run of form. I mean, 2 1-0 losses in a row, one in La Liga, one a club friendly is big. It is big, and that's they're hosting us early in the early game. We're away, which I think is going to play heavily into their favor. But let's just see the starting lineup that they rocked against who is this? Deportes. I definitely did not pronounce it. Deportivo. There we go. Sorry. If there's any Spanish viewers or diehard La Liga fans, I apologize now, because I am an American. Okay, so Unai Simon is a great goalie, and I think he's gonna be a good player, a vital player for them. I mean, it's a good team. You got the Williams brothers, obviously, and where even is so Nico? If that's the case, if Nico Williams is out, that's going to be big for us, because that's a big playmaker for them. And I think he would have given, Timber some troubles, but I think Timber would have been able to maintain that with composure. like I said, it's a good team. We've played them before. Let's see how this compares to the time they played us. Yeah. Let's see how this compares to what the squad they rocked with us. Here we go. Sorry, I'm burping. Transparency here, boys. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is transparency from creator to viewer. So it's pretty similar. Honestly, like really similar starting 11. So we kind of know what they're up to. We know what they're doing, or know what to expect. And I would even argue that this is probably a stronger side than what we're going to probably face tomorrow. So, I think, and honestly, we rocked very similar starting 11, replace Saliba, replace Rice, replace Martinelli and Saka, and we got basically the same starting 11. So like I said, I think this is going to be great, a great test for us, a good way to start the Champions League season. So I'm really excited for tomorrow. It's going to be hit or miss if I'm able to do it a live stream, but stay posted. I might be able to. It is, as an American, it is your duty to do jury service, and I was selected. So we will see if that's even possible. But once again, thank you guys for tuning in. Let me know if you have any opinions. I'm always willing to answer them. I love, when people engage with me. So, so if I'm live tomorrow, I hope to see you there. But it's been a pleasure. I'm glad to be back, and hopefully I start posting more. So thank you guys. See ya.